welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I want to do a little bit more of a discussion type video. This is an idea that came to me late last night, and it's kind of just been rattling around in my head ever since, and I want to just get on camera and do it really. And that is to discuss some box office predictions for the year of 2023. More specifically, I want to talk about which films I personally believe are going to join the $1 billion club this year, and also just a couple other predictions that I have regarding the box office and how much money movies are going to make it, etc, etc. So what I want to do is open the floor to you guys as well. If you have any of your own predictions on how you feel the box office is going to turn out this year, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below so we can have a great discussion down there. So with all that out of the way and all that said, let's jump into my first prediction. So my first prediction is I don't personally believe we're going to see any MCU movies join the $1 billion club this year. Now, the reason I'm actually mentioning this as a separate prediction is because this is kind of like an honourable mention sort of thing, because I have sort of a top three of 3 films that I believe are going to join the $1 billion club, which we'll get to in a minute. But my fourth kind of wild card is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, I'm not 100% confident that Ant-Man 3 will actually join the $1 billion club this year, purely because the Ant-Man films, they typically don't do huge numbers in regards to the MCU. They're usually on the smaller end. However, with this film, it's very, very different to the previous Ant-Man films. You know, the previous ones were palate cleanser movies. They were the films that came out after Avengers films to kind of give us a bit of a refresher. With Quantumania, it is the kicking off point for Marvel Phase 5. Not only that, but this is a big, you know, sci-fi epic kind of multiverse movie, maybe, depending on what they do with the story. And also, this is the first film that's going to really introduce Kang, Jonathan Majors, as Kang the Conqueror, who is our main new villain for this saga of the MCU, the multiverse saga. And what's important to remember about that is that with the MCU and the state it's currently in, people aren't necessarily catching up or caught up on absolutely everything. When you've got all these movies and now specifically all these TV shows, some people aren't going to be fully caught up on absolutely everything. So I guarantee you there are some MCU fans out there who perhaps haven't maybe watched Loki and therefore didn't see Jonathan Majors in the finale of Loki as He Who Remains. Now obviously he's not our main Kang variant. He is going to be appearing in this movie, but that's what I'm sort of getting at. You know, this film is going to introduce our main villain, who a lot of people probably haven't even seen before. So that's really, really cool. So like I say, with the Ant-Man movie we've got coming out this year, coming out this month in fact, I think there is a chance, given the size and the scale of it, this could be a $1 billion movie. However, I'm not 100% confident. If I'm going to kind of put money on it, I would say that this film is going to cross more around the $900 million mark. But like I say, if the word of mouth is good, the movie's great, we could see it cross that $1 billion threshold. But I'm personally feeling that this is going to be more of a sort of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness level, which is around the 900 million, just short of a $1 billion mark. In terms of the other Marvel movies we've got coming out this year, I just don't personally see it. I mean, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which, yeah, Guardians is a very beloved brand in the MCU, but I'm picturing that more around the 800 million mark, and also it's pretty self-contained by the looks of it, Guardians 3. Like, I don't think it's going to be connecting to the larger story. I feel like this film is purely there to end and cap off the storyline with these characters, so I don't really feel like, you know, your audience members who come out to see the big events are necessarily going to come out to see Guardians 3. And then you've also got the Marvels, which the Marvels is completely different to predict because we haven't seen anything from it yet, and also it's kind of a wild card because the Marvels is by far, from what I can see on the internet, the least anticipated Marvel film coming out this year. However, what you've got to remember is that this is technically Captain Marvel 2, and Captain Marvel did join the $1 billion club. The original Captain Marvel in 2019 is a $1 billion movie. However, I do also believe that that was mostly because of when it came out. You know, it came out right in between Infinity War and Endgame, so I think people were very much on the Marvel hype train and were watching everything. Whereas this is a little bit different. You know, Phase 4 and 5 have had people kind of dropping off a little bit. So we'll see with the Marvels. It could do very, very well, but I could also see it sitting around maybe like Thor Love and Thunder numbers, like around the $700 million mark. So like I say, to kind of tie this section all together, I personally don't believe we'll see any of the MCU movies this year cross the $1 billion mark. However, we could get lucky and Ant-Man could pull it out of the bag. Now, going into that top 3 that I mentioned, these next 3 films are basically the films that I am pretty 100% confident on are going to join the $1 billion club. And the first one, which I genuinely think this will be the highest grossing film of the year, the new Super Mario Brothers movie. Honestly, I don't even think this is a question. I don't think it's even in debate. Like, I think that this film 100% is going to join the $1 billion club and, like I say, potentially could be the highest grossing film of the year. This is Illumination, whose movies always bang at the box office, like 100%. Like, these are the guys who did Despicable Me, the Minions movies. Like, did you see how long Minions: The Rise of Gru was in cinemas for this year? Like, it was there for so long. Like, these movies have legs. Not only that, but you've got Illumination as a brand, which people trust and people like, and generally their films are quality. And then you've also got the fact that this is a Mario movie. Like, this is such a recognizable brand globally that you've got kids of, like, today's age who will want to go see this movie. You've got people around my age who grew up with Mario who want to go see it. And then you've also got adults who grew up with Mario when it first came out who will want to go see this movie. So basically, this is a film that is for everyone. It's going to be a kids movie that is going to be massively successful. It's from a company that people trust. I just think there is not even a shadow of doubt that this film is going to join the $1 billion club. And like I say, if I was a betting man, I would probably say that out of all the films coming out this year, I think the Mario movie will be the highest grossing film of the year. But I could be wrong. You know, maybe this film will bomb. Who knows? I just don't see a world in which that happens. Next up, I think the second highest grossing film of the year will be Fast and Furious 10. Or Fast X. This is for a couple of reasons. For one, Fast and Furious as a franchise is so incredibly popular. It is so beloved around the world. And it's one of those franchises that, you know, everybody knows what they are. Everyone knows what you're going to get. And yeah, some people are getting a little bit bored of that now. But I think for the majority, I think most people still really love these films and are coming out to see them. And with Fast and Furious, it has been a $1 billion franchise before. You know, Fast and Furious 7 made $1 billion, 8 made $1 billion, and then 9 didn't make $1 billion. However, when you look at when 9 came out, obviously it did come out as we were as cinemas were starting to reopen due to COVID. And also when you look at like all the blockbusters that came out in 2021, they all made around the same as Fast and Furious 9. I believe Fast 9 was like the 5th highest grossing movie of the year or something. So it didn't do bad considering, you know, the time it came out. It was really only Spider-Man that year that blew the box office open. And that came out in December. So, you know, there was definitely some reasoning there. But also, given the fact that Fast 10 is the kind of first part of the end of the series, you know, this is kind of part 1 of the final entry. And if they market the movie as such, which they already seem to based on the poster that they've released, you know, it says like the end of the road begins or something. Like, if they market this as like, okay, we're going in now, this is the end of the franchise, you need to watch this one to be ready for the final one, I think people will come out for it. And like I say, given the fact that this film is coming out at a time when, you know, the world is coming back to normal and cinemas are completely reopened and, you know, the box office is seemingly back to normal. You know, we've seen it with films like Spider-Man, Top Gun Maverick, Avatar. You know, people are coming back out again to see these big movies. If they market it as such, I think people will come out to see Fast X and therefore will also come out to see Fast 11, which I believe comes out in 2024. So I think Fast X, and also as an additional point as well, there are so many cool new cast members that this movie's added. Jason Momoa, who obviously Aquaman, which was a $1 billion movie itself, so people like him. You've got Brie Larson in it as well, who is of course Captain Marvel. So there's some big stars that Vin Diesel has added into this to kind of bring people in. So I think it's very likely that we'll see Fast X join the $1 billion club, and hopefully we'll get a better reaction of how people are feeling about this movie when we get the trailer on the Super Bowl. Now, my third and final prediction, and this is the third film I believe will join the $1 billion club this year, is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, this is my most anticipated film of the year, and to be honest, there's really one reason why I feel like this movie is going to become a $1 billion movie. And that's because I think this film's going to ride on the coattails of Top Gun Maverick. Had Top Gun Maverick not come out last year, or perhaps if Top Gun Maverick had bombed last year, then I wouldn't have this movie here. However, this franchise has had just stronger and stronger box office numbers with every single entry, with its previous one, Mission Impossible Fallout, reaching around the 700 to 800 million mark. I feel like, you know, just when you look at that natural trajectory, this is going to go up. Also, similarly to Fast X, this is part 1 of the final entry. If you market it as such, people will come out to see it. You know, people are going to want to see how this franchise, which has kind of been a staple in Hollywood for a long time, ends. Also, Tom Cruise, the main star and the driving force behind this franchise, he's in a bit of a renaissance at the minute following Top Gun Maverick. You know, people watched that movie, people were reminded of how much they love Tom Cruise as a movie star, and how much he is really incredibly successful at creating these exciting, exhilarating action movies. And Mission Impossible is kind of his main wheelhouse for that. So I think people who have really gotten back on board with Tom Cruise and want to see more films with him are going to come out and see this. And like I say, this film really will ride on the coattails of Top Gun Maverick. Additionally, because everybody who saw Top Gun Maverick would have seen the trailer for Mission Impossible. That trailer was debuted with Top Gun. So everyone who saw Top Gun, like, you know, and that film made so much money, you know, that one was $1 billion movie. Everyone who saw it saw this trailer. So, you know, if even by that logic, say for example, everyone who saw Top Gun Maverick at least once goes to see Mission Impossible, it'll probably cross $1 billion easy. So, like I say, I think Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, it's not been $1 billion movie before as far as I'm aware. Oh, did Ghost Protocol make $1 billion? Ghost Protocol might have made $1 billion, I can't quite remember. But either way, I think that this film will definitely join the $1 billion club if it can ride on those successful coattails of Top Gun Maverick and just Tom Cruise being in the middle of a bit of a renaissance at the minute. And those two combined could create $1 billion movie. So there you have it, guys. There is my box office predictions for 2023. Make sure you leave your own in the comment section down below. How do you feel like it's going to turn out this year? Do you agree with me? Do you have any other picks that you feel like will cross the $1 billion club this year? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to see more video content like this about movies, TV shows, and everything else in between, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.